Hi everyone, in this video we are going to be learning about similar polygons and their properties. So similar polygons have corresponding angles that are congruent to each other. It means angle measure is preserved. But the corresponding sides are not necessarily congruent, they are going to be proportional. If we think about that word proportional for a second, that'll help us fill in our next blank. When trying to find a missing side of similar polygons, we can set up a proportion to solve. Okay, and you may remember that you can solve proportions by cross multiplying. All right, so let's use those two facts to help us answer some sample questions. All right, number one, if triangle ABC is similar, that's what this symbol means in here, if we don't remember that, similar to triangle DEF, which statement is not always true? So let's draw a diagram here to help us out. So I'm going to draw ABC. I'm going to draw DEF. I'm going to make them somewhat look similar to one another. We don't have to be too precise here, but we need our letters to correspond. So A and D should match up, B and E, and so on. All right, so if we look at this here, let's look at our answer choices. A and D are congruent. That's true because those are corresponding angles and they are congruent. B, F and C are congruent. Those are also corresponding angles, so they must be congruent. C, E and B, that works as well. But choice D doesn't. B and F are not corresponding angles, so they are not necessarily congruent, and that is our correct answer. So on that question number one, we practiced the idea that corresponding angles and similar polygons are congruent. In number two, we're going to practice the other fact that the corresponding sides are proportional. So it gives us two triangles that are similar to one another. We want to figure out what equation is true. So we're trying to make sure we're kind of like matching up the corresponding sides. So let's look at A, GF and FH. Okay, so GF then FH corresponds to JI and JH. You can see that that does not correspond. FH and JH do not correspond to one another, so choice A is incorrect. All right, for B, GF and JH and JI and GH. You can see that this is a little backwards here. We don't have the corresponding sides set up properly, so maybe it would be different if it was like GF over GH. We could have worked with it, but B is also incorrect. C, HI to JH. Okay, so the bottom and then the vertical piece is equal to JI. Well, here I can already tell we're wrong because we're doing three sides in the same triangle, and GH. So that one is also incorrect. We need two sides per triangle. And then let's just verify D is right. GF and FH, JI, IH, everything matches up. GF and JI match, FH and IH. So choice D is correct. All right, number three. If triangle GFH is similar to triangle JIH, solve for X. Okay, well, the corresponding sides are proportional, so 6 and X correspond, and 5 and 7.5. What I mean by that when I say they correspond, that really means that GF and JI correspond, so I could use their side lengths, 6 and X, to help me set up the proportion. All right, so let's cross multiply here. So I'm going to get 5 times X is just 5X. 6 times 7.5 is going to give me 45. When I divide both sides by 5, I'm going to get X is 9. You can always follow my calculations over on the right-hand side on the calculator screen. All right, number 4. Triangle ABC is similar to DEF. Solve for X and Y. So we're going to solve for them independently. So let's do X first. The side labeled XAB corresponds to DE, so the 8. And we can use the 12 and the 4, the bottom side lengths here. So let's cross multiply. 4X is equal to 96. Divide by 4. And we're going to get that X is 24. All right, to find y, well, 18 and y correspond, and I'm just going to use the 12 and the 4 again. You could use the 24 and the 8, though. They're a new value of x. That would work. So 12y is equal to 72 divided by 12, and y is 6. So we have our two answers for x and y now. Number 5, the sides of a triangle measure 9, 3, and 11. If the longest side of a similar triangle measures 55, determine and state the length of the shortest side of this triangle. So 9, 3, and 11. If you want to take this and put it in a picture, you certainly can. Don't worry about it being drawn to scale, not a problem. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to draw a bigger version. Again, not to scale, but the longest side is 55. Okay, that must correspond with the longest side of the original triangle. All right, the shortest side must correspond with the shortest side of the original triangle, so the 3. So here is x over here. So 3 over x is equal to 11 over 55. When we cross multiply, we get 11x equals 165. And our answer is x is equal to 15. All right, number 6, if triangle ABC is similar to triangle JKL, we have some angle measurements here. Find angle B. All right, let's draw this out. Anytime you don't have a picture, draw it out so you can make more sense of it. And again, we're not going to worry about this picture being drawn to scale, but what we are going to make sure is that our letters match. So A and J, B and K, and C and L. I'm kind of marking them off differently to show you what should correspond. All right, if angle A is 35, angle J is 35 as well, because similar triangles have corresponding congruent angles. If L is 72, C is 72, by the same logic. Well, now we know that a triangle has 180 degrees, so I'm going to subtract from 180, 35, and 72, and I get that my missing angle, the measure of angle B, is 73 degrees. Okay, for our last question, number 7, quadrilateral ABCD is similar to quadrilateral EFGH. We're going to solve for X, Y, and Z. All right, so let's start with X. I can see that AB is labeled with X, and that corresponds to EF, which is labeled with 6.5. And then I want to pick two more sides that correspond, but I want to pick ones that are just numerical. So I'm going to pick AD and EH. Those are both labeled with numbers, because I don't want to have a proportion that has multiple variables in it. All right, let's cross multiply. So 2x is equal to 26, and we're going to get x is 13. Okay, you could go in and put that in your picture as well. All right, let's find y. So 5 and y correspond. And then I could use the 4 and the 2, or I could use the 13 and 6.5. I'll just stick with the 4 and the 2 here. I'm going to cross multiply. I get 4y is equal to 10, and y is equal to 2.5. And then finally for z, z and 6 correspond. I'll use the 4 and the 2 again. I'll just slide this over so we have some more space. Cross multiply, I get 2z is equal to 24, or z is equal to 12. So it looks like our quadrilaterals are in a 2-to-1 ratio, and each of the sides in the picture ABCD is double that of EFGH. Okay, hopefully this video helped you understand a little bit more about how corresponding angles are congruent and corresponding sides are proportional in similar polygons. Thanks for watching.